Greetings, family. Que pasa? What's happening? What's going on? How's everybody doing out there? My name is Ram Hotep L, broadcasting on behalf of the number 13 ScienceAstrology.com. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. I want to send a shout out to all the friends and family and YouTubers. And this video may make it on the Facebookers out there that watch all my videos and things of that nature. This particular episode, we're going to talk a little bit about magic. And this episode is dedicated to the number 7. Number 7 is a very mystical number. The number 7 is a very magical number. The reason why I'm doing this episode is because I want to get people ready for the energies of this year. And we're going to be talking a lot about the energies of this year because I want people to live this year to the fullest. I want people to live this year to the maximum. And the only way to do that is that you're going to have to be equipped with this spiritual and this metaphysical information this year, because this year is going to be a very mystical, magical number. But it could turn into a very dark and depressing number if we allow that to happen. That's what I'm going to talk about today. Now, the number 7 links very much into this year. If you add up this year, as many people have already done this is the year of 2014. And you have the 2 plus the 4 plus the 1 equals 7 in the year 2014. So that's why I'm doing this episode. Now, if you look at the number 14, I'm going to do a video on the number 14 as well, because I'm going to start doing a lot more episodes on numbers. If you look at the number 14, it's represented by 2 sevens, which is very interesting. 2 sevens you find in the number 14, and then plus you add up 2014, that equals a 7. So in actuality, you're looking at 3 sevens in this year. And anybody that knows anything about 3 sevens, I know all you gamblers out there and all you hustlers out there, you know anything about the 7, that's the lucky number. That's the number that everybody looks for. Now, if you know anything about street dice, you hit a 7 on the coming out. If you hit a 7 coming out, it's cool. But if you hit that 7, like once you make your point, it's called making your point. And you make your point, say if your point is 6, then if you turn around and hit that 7 after you make your point, you crap out. So it can become a very unlucky number. So there is science in that. There's a lot of science in that. The number 7 actually is a very logical number, believe it or not. If you kind of like take it away from the magic aspect, number 7s and people that are 7s are scientists. This is the number of science. This number kind of basically goes into the mind, understanding the mind. And people that are 7s, they spend a lot of time alone. Those people that are 7s out there that, you may have a birthday that adds up to the number 7. If you know anything about people that are 7s, they spend a lot of time alone. They're very much enigma, very hard to understand. The number 7 is, and it's a very powerful number. I mean, when it comes to thinking and thought, 7s live in their head, so this represents your thoughts. And what happens with the number 7 is that if you don't fine tune your thoughts, when you live in your head, your thoughts can come and turn in on you, and your thoughts can come back on you, and you can kind of put yourself into a form of a mental prison when you're a 7, because 7 represents protection. And what happens with a 7 is that they always want to be protected. They always want to be safe, and they can put themselves into a form of a prison in their head because they want to stay protected. And they know the only way to be protected is they can only trust themselves, and they may have to remain alone. And that's okay. If you're a life path 7, I mean, it's not for us to judge how different people that fall up under different energies and different life paths function, because 7 is protection, and they are very logical, wise, smart, scientific, and you can't outthink them. The thing with a 7 is that they may not speak a lot, they may not say a lot, but they always understand. So this year, we may have to find ourselves spending a lot of time in isolation. We may have to find ourselves spending a lot of time alone. This is the year to perfect. And more science, we're taught that the number 7 is the number of perfected man and woman. The perfected man and woman. And the reason for that is because the number 7 is the number that encapsulates the essence of spirit and matter. When the Anunnaki came to this planet, or when the higher beings came to this planet, whatever you may call them, and they began to create man, they created man in periods of 7,000 years. It was 7 periods of 7,000 years which led to the creation of man. In the Bible, you call this the 7 days of creation. 7 times 7 is 49,000. 4 plus 9 is 13. So the 7 links to the 13. And in these 7 periods of 7,000 years, different aspects of the man were brought into existence. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. This is going to be, before I go into this, I know this is going to be a good year for 13scienceastrology.com, for our friends, our supporters, the family, and the loved ones, because this year it was amazing. I was walking down the street, and I believe it was on the 2nd of this year, the second day I went out, which was the 2nd of this year. I'm a penny finder. People that know me, I scavenge pennies and coinage, and I don't do this because I'm broke or I'm trying to get money or I'm greedy. It has nothing to do with that. This is magic to me, beloveds. This is how I communicate with my ancestors. I look at the dates on the pennies and I read them. I look at the numbers on the pennies when I find them. And I found 7 pennies. 7 pennies. And one of my relatives is my witness. She was with me, but we found 7 pennies on the ground. So I know this is going to be my year. I came out of a womb of a number 7. My mother was a number 7. So this is going to be an excellent year for us. And we're going to talk a lot about on this channel. We're going to get into deep spirit science this year. This is what I'm going to theme this year as. I want to talk a lot about spirit science. And there's a reason for that, because the number 7 is very scientific, but it's very magical and metaphysical. And I'm going to talk about the metaphysical and magical side. It represents the brain, so all 7s are already smart. They already live in their head, but a lot of them don't understand the magic that they have and what they're capable of. So back to my point, the Anunnaki, in each part of the 7,000 years, they worked on different aspects of the human being. You are a multi-dimensional being. You are a 7-fold being. Really, being as the beings that we are, everybody talks about 5D and 4D and all of that, but we really exist on 7 different levels or 7 different dimensions, and really actually 9, but I won't talk about that here. I won't go into the 9 aspect because this is not a 9 video. But to understand the basics of man and everything that makes up this shell, or this, what the Egyptians called this khat, and this body, you have to understand 7 layers of man. And the number 7 is a very mystical number. It represents, on one level, it's broken down into 4 and 3 when the Anunnaki created us and created and fashioned man. And the first thing that the Anunnaki had to do when they created and fashioned man is that they spent 7,000 years perfecting the earth aspect of man. Now the earth aspect of man basically goes into our form, our body. This is an element, the earth element, and this represents what we would call our khat. That's what the ancient Egyptians called it. It took them 7,000 years to fashion that. There's many different, when we talk about the many different types of beings that exist in this dimension, a lot of them were prototypes of what's called us, which is the perfected man. So we may call them aliens and things like that, but they were prototypes, templates of us, and basically templates of what we were to become. So they may look a little weird and a little different. This is kind of like the Anunnaki were scientists. They did this under the number 7 because it represents science and spirit science. So the body aspect was very important, the earth aspect. Then the second aspect was the fire aspect that's involved in man. This is the heat that's involved in man. Every one of you has an internal sun that exists within the core aspects of your heart. And this is what's responsible for making your blood warm. Your body is 98 degrees. Why is that? Why is your body 98 degrees? The reason why your body is 98 degrees is because you have an internal heat or internal flame that keeps you warm. Self-heating mechanism. This is what makes us mammals. All mammals have this or whatever. So you need to stay at a certain heat to stay warm. And the Anunnaki, they did this through the alchemical element of fire. 7 goes into alchemy too because there's 7 metals. But the fire aspect is very important. Then man has the air aspect. The Anunnaki had to fashion and regulate the air aspect of man. This goes into the breath. The breath is very misunderstood. I'm going to do more videos on the breath this year. All of my yogis out there, all of my Vedic brothers and sisters understand the breath. The breath ties into heat actually, because when you breathe, you feel that it's warm. Why is the breath warm? When you take it in, it's not warm because the body temperature regulates it. The heat that comes out of you, it's related to your temperature. So even when it's cold, it's freezing outside, you breathe on your hands. And this is that heat. So the air element goes into the breath. The breath, you can get so deep into breath, this can take you into understanding meditation. This can take you into going deeper into your dreams. The way you breathe can determine how much you need to eat or how much you don't need to eat. Breath is very important, very misunderstood. Breath can actually change your skin tone. There's a lot of things you can do with breath. Breath can help you to activate your Merkaba, going through different breathing cycles and breathing techniques. So the Anunnaki, they knew when they created us that they had to fashion us around the element of air, which deals with breath. So that's the number 3 aspect of man, of perfected man and woman. And the number 4 aspect would go into water. Your body is, some say 90%, because the brain aspect of the body is 90% water. Some say 75% because the bodily aspect of the body is 75% water. But at the end of the day, you are 75 to 80% water. This is why you have to drink good water. You have to drink alkaline water. When we were reptilians, when we were in the waters, we existed in the alkaline waters. And this is why alkaline water is very important for us. So we came out of the alkaline waters to get to this point. So taking in good water is going to help to regulate your bodily function. It took the Anunnaki 7,000 years to perfect the water aspect of us as being a compound being. You may think many people think it stops there. You got air, earth, water, and fire. Many people think, well, that's it. There are no other aspects that really create man. But there's 3 other aspects going into the 7 different levels of creating man. So then the Anunnaki had to go into the ethers. And this is the 5th element, or the 5th aspect. And the ethers are very important because your ethers determine what type of being you are. Like in Dr. Malachi York and some of the great teachers, they talk about some beings being 3 ether and 9 ether and all these different levels of ether. Ether goes into actually how all of the elements work together. This is really what ether is or whatever. Some people say that ether is a burning. And burning is basically what keeps you going, is what keeps life going. Your life is a burning. So, for instance, a bird is created from certain types of ethers, whereas a human is created from other type of ethers. And then we have different species of humans. So, depending on what type of species you are, I don't get into race, species, keep that in mind, will determine what type of ethers or how your ethers function. Because there's really no type of ethers, it's really how they function. And that's what helps you to manifest and to look the way you look. So ethers is really the magic that makes all the elements blend together and makes us, when the elements come together, it's that missing element that makes it all work. It makes us what we are. It's the ether. It's the ether goes into what will be called the 6th element, goes into the soul. So the ether is how the soul connects, it fuses with the body. The soul is the 6th element. Your soul is actually another part of your body. When you die, when you When your body transpires or expires, I should say, the soul separates from the body and lives a life of its own. When you go to sleep, the soul leaves the body and goes and travels. The soul doesn't get weary. Your soul has a birth record just like your body has a birth record. And what happens is when you get your natal chart done or something like that, you're getting your natal chart because you're finding out exactly when the soul fused into the body and the alignments that were made when the soul fused in with the body. But there's advanced readings that you could do, like a past life reading, where you can get into understanding your soul, because your soul has a life of its own, has a character of its own. And the body is nothing without the soul. The soul animates you. When you talk about the term animal, that goes into the soul. Many people don't believe animals have souls. They say all animals don't have souls, and they say, some people say white people don't have souls. That's not true. It's not true. Everything that's living on this planet is a soul. You say, well, you don't have no soul because you don't care about anything. That has nothing to do with soul. Soul goes into character. It goes into what makes you like a spark of life, what makes you animated, what makes you amped up. That's your soul. What the very essence of you. Why you do the things the way you do them. This is why you need to understand your zodiac sign, because it takes you past the body. You get with somebody in a relationship and you just looking at the 4 or 5 elements of them. They look, their lips look like this, or their nose look like that, their hair looks like that. They're so attractive, they're so hot. What about their soul? This is why you can look at a person and you may be like, oh no, this person isn't really necessarily as physically attractive as the type of guys I may like or whatever. A woman may look at a man and be like, but it's something about him, like internally. See, women see the soul more so than men do. Men are very physical. I mean, like that, it's just something about him or her. Some men are like this too, but it's something about him or her that makes me attracted to them. That's the very inner essence of this person. This is your soul. This is what really makes you you. And lastly, you have what's called your spirit. You have what's called your spirit. And your spirit is your chi. Your spirit links into your respiratory system, or your breath, or your breathing system. But this is when you breathe, this is how you take in spirit, actually. So breath is not necessarily spirit, even though it's linked to it. Your spirit is your chi. And chi is a form of your shin. These are forms of passive and aggressive energy. So your spirit is very important, because this is what gives you your energy. It's not really going into character, but this is when magic works or doesn't work is based upon your spirit. This is why when you say, well, I was in a bad spirit today, I'm not really in a good spirit. And then whatever spirit you're in, this is going to kind of create your life. So spirit is very magical. It's the 7th element because it's the mystical part. And it's the part that really determines how your life is going to go. So the Anunnaki, they spent 7,000 years breaking down and going into these different aspects of the being and really figuring out how to tweak them and how much chi is needed, how much chi is not needed. And this creation or this thing goes on every time a being comes into existence. Everything happens based upon the number 7 and going into the number 9, because a baby can come prematurely. If you study premature births, a baby could come in 7 months or 9 months. There's a reason for that. Like my mother, she was a premature baby, came in 7 months. And actually, when you go through those different stages, premature babies, they say a lot really are part of the gray species of grays. Because when you go through those periods, you go through the reptilian phase, the gray phase, then you go into the human phase if you make it up to 9 months. But you don't necessarily have to make it to that 9 months. There's babies being born now at 5 months. Now, Anunnaki knew about this. They knew about, you don't necessarily take 9 months to bring a child. That's a Homo sapien to bring a 9-month child into existence. It doesn't necessarily take that long. So there's children right now, like I know a couple children, especially these rainbows, they don't have to stay in the womb for 9 months. A lot of them can come out at 7 months. So that's really going into the magical aspect of the number 7 and why it's associated with human beings. So this is going to be a year where you have to really understand everything I just talked about. You're going to have to take the time to perfect all of that. That's what really the basis of this year. You're going to have to take the time to perfect your spirit, to perfect your magic. This is really going to get into spirit science. This is the year if no other year, that you should take the time to really understand magic in relationship to logic and try to merge the two. Because really, what makes a master, what makes a master mystic, or what makes a great witch, what makes a great wizard, is your ability to merge logic and reason with the unexplainable or the magic side of things. And you notice that your being is created by both of these things. So that's what this year is all about. It's going to be a very lucky year for a lot of people. I think a lot of people will really experience a lot of good things this year. Those people that are working on the self. This year represents going into a new cycle because everything in numbers is broken down into threes. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the 1 year and the 4 year and the 7 year are linked together because all of these represents going into new phases and new cycles of new beginnings. So the 7 year is going into the higher up. It's the last of the 3 sets of numbers. So this is where you perfect everything you've been doing. This is where you begin to perfect everything that's been going on 6 years going back. So 6 years going back, we went into a new cycle, whatever, when we were in what would be called a 1 year. So let's see, with 6 years going back would put us at, the 1 year for us would have been at 2000 and, can't have anybody help me here because nobody's out there. 2008 would have been the beginning of a new cycle. 2008, which represents the 1 year. So now it's 2014. So 2008, you got to look at what you were doing in 2008. Whatever you were doing in 2008, it's time for you to perfect that, to perfect that so that you could begin to close this energy out. So whatever was going on, whatever you started, because everything happens in cycles of 9 with numbers. So whatever you started in 2008, it's time to perfect that. And it's time for that to begin to close itself out. So this is going to be a very mystical year. I'm going to do another video on the number 14 as well. A very magical year. And I just want to kind of talk about how important 7 is in our life and in our everyday life, and how many things we have that are associated with the number 7, just to give you guys a real live idea about how serious this number is, and then I'll shut down. Now I talked about the 7 days of creation. You got 7 days, some people say days, but they're really 7,000 year periods. When you research the scriptures in Hebrew, you'll find this out, but they were really 7,000 year periods of creation. Then you have the 7 chakra system, and there's 13 chakras, but like I said, the 7 links into the number 13. I've done a video on the number 13 already, but I'll do another one to go even deeper this year because I'm going to focus a lot on numbers. But you can't really go into the 13 chakra system unless you first understand the 7 chakras, unless you complete the 7 chakras. So you got 7 chakras. There's 7 seas, some people say. 7 different bodies of water. The 7 seas. There's 7 heavens. That's going into actually the different dimensions. There's actually more than that, but 7th heaven is really the highest aspect, or the 7th dimension, or whatever you want to call it. This is the highest aspect that man can really acknowledge and go to. Like, you have 5D and everybody wants to be in 5D, but actually 7D, 7th dimension, or some people may call it 7th heaven, is the highest up that we can go. And the only way to get to that dimension, you have to understand alchemy and magic. To really even get into that dimension, you got to go through a gateway of darkness. To make it into that dimension, you have to battle actually and go through a war and battle these dark lords before you can even really make it to the 7th heaven. So the 7th heaven is full of light, but the thing is that you got to go through the dark to get there. So a lot of people, they want to stop at 5D because it's not as much of a struggle. To get through 6D is really difficult to get through 6D, and I'll do a video to really break that down and decode that. But you got the 7 heavens, that's what Christians and Muslims call it. 7 levels of hell. There's 7 levels of hell that they talk about. There's 7 notes on a scale of a piano. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. 7 different notes or octaves. What we call, it's actually 8, really, but the 8 is the transformative number, or the death, and going into the next level of higher octaves. Because when you study the piano, there's the low C, and then there's the high C. There's different levels of the different notes of C's. So there's different octaves, like each octave it could double itself and sound higher on that level or that octave or whatever. So that's getting into octaves, but there's 7 different notes on the scale of piano and in music. You got the 7 deadly sins. 7 deadly sins. I mean, most people know in religion, they know about those or whatever. So why is all this stuff associated with the number 7? Actually, the 7 deadly sins go into the 7 chakras, though, to really understand that. You got 7 virtues. People that are religious know about this, but this goes into the chakra system. So most of the stuff in the Bible that you read about is talking about you. If you don't understand astrology, if you don't understand the chakras, if you don't understand numerology, you can't understand the Bible. I can do a really good video, and I plan on doing this on the Book of Revelations, because a lot of people, they want to know about the Book of Revelations and what is that really talking about, and when it talks about the 7 churches, what is that really talking about? 7 continents. So much stuff associated with the number 7. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down. Just want to kind of really make this year relevant, drop some seeds on people to help people to understand, you know, how magical, how much potential you have this year. If you're in a situation where you got to spend a lot of time to yourself, it's okay. It's okay. I believe there's going to be a lot of marriages that take place this year. But if you get married up under science and magic, and not for the lustly mundane reasons. That's the 6 energy. That's the 6 energy that we ran last year. So that 6 is sex. But this time it's time to get married, because so you can have a partner to actually meditate with, and to match frequencies with and vibrate with. Take some time before you just lay down. I mean, we all have sex, we all do our thing, but take some time to meditate with this partner, align your thoughts together. We could produce babies mentally, beloveds. There was a time when the women of Lemuria knew how to mentally produce a baby. Mentally. And we still have this potential if we really get into the unlocking this number 7, man. It's the occult magic number. It's very important, but it's misunderstood. It's misunderstood, and that's the whole thing. It's an enigma. It's the mystery number. It's ruled by Neptune. And Neptune is the number of mystery. It's also the number of deception. So don't get deceived this year. This looks can be very deceiving. This is because 7 deals with energy, the subtle aspects of things. So if you go off of how something looks, you may get deceived and think one thing is happening when it's not. 7, because Neptune is a very misunderstood planet, as I was talking about in the last video I did about understanding and decoding this year. Neptune is one of the most misunderstood planets, beloved, because it exists in 7D. We don't understand Neptune. We have no concept of it, of the being. We have no concept of the psychological mind and the psyche behind things. We just, like, say for instance, if we get hurt and somebody does something wrong to us, we immediately go in victim mode. Not even going into the psychology of why we got hurt, the psychology of our pain. See, this is what a 7 should understand or understand, especially people out there that have the number 7. Your birthday adds up to the number 7, and you're on a 7 life path, or you may be born on the 25th or the 7th or the 14th. You got to really understand this type of stuff, because your psychological mind, your psychological body is very important. And going into the motive of why things happen is the scientific, spiritual aspect of it. So that's really what linking Neptune into it really should tell you. When a person lies, yeah, you can get mad, but why are they lying? What's going on with them psychologically? Why are you lying? If you're a liar, why are you lying? Is something going on with you psychologically? There's some fear associated with that. Like I tell my clients, if you have a lying problem, you're fearful of something. So 7s can be very deceiving. Some people just like to cloak themselves. They feel like they like playing games, and they feel like lying is like, it's an adrenaline rush, and it's a way to control what people know about them, which is deception. That's an art of deceiving people. But really, deceiving people is not really lying. Actually, it's more mundane. Deceiving people is, you could deceive a person without saying anything. That's real true deception. If you want to master the art of deception, it's not really lying to a person, because you drop your energy. You close your throat chakra up when you lie to a person, actually. It's a part of the 7 deadly sins. Deceit goes into rolling in mystery, where you don't tell the person anything. You deceive them by making things look one way, but it's really not. But not because you said it, but you made it look that way. That's how you deceive a person. Like I was talking about the wolf in sheep's clothing. That's deception. Not necessarily lying. The wolf in sheep clothing may not lie, but it's the fact that it's really a wolf, but they're dressed like a sheep. That's the deception in it. And then it's ruled by Jupiter. So that's the luck aspect of the number 7. Jupiter is good luck, higher fortune. Right now, it's Jupiter is retrograde though, so your luck is in helping people right now. Once it goes direct, then you can focus on you. So right now, we should be kind to one another. We should be trying to help one another to bank up good luck for us, because good luck is actually something that we can regulate and control. Good luck is based on good deeds, or what you would call good karma. If you do something for somebody, that's like put money in the bank. As far as good deeds, if you put out a lot of money and help people with a lot of money, you can expect some kind of way you're gonna get that money back. If you help people with your time and you keep helping people with your time, you're gonna expect some kind of way people are gonna give you their time. So whatever you give a person, you're going to get back. This is not religious. This is just the laws and the cycles of the unseen and the things we don't understand, which is all, beloved, based on the number 7. So the number 7 is a very gifted number. This is one of the best numbers. Enjoy this year. Tap into the energy of this year. You got this video way in advance. You got time. Tap into it. Make it happen this year. Make that magic real. Your thoughts will become things. I didn't really get a chance to hit on this, so I'm going to hit on this point. Your thoughts will become things this year, because 7s live in their head. 7 represents the brain, or I really say the mind, because the brain is nothing but a channel. There's really, the brain just does nothing but channel the mind. The mind is something that scientists have not even really discovered, because they don't know where it's at. So we look at the mind, we say thinking a thing, we think about the brain thinking. The brain doesn't think, it just channels. It's just a tool to channel the thoughts. Just like a computer. The computer doesn't think. You tell it what to do. That's the mind. So the universal mind sends thoughts through the brain, into the brain, and we process. The brain is the processor. So this basically goes into, if you're in a situation right now that looks very negative, because a 7 is dark. I mean, I'm saying a lot of good stuff about it, but it's a dark number. You may be in a situation that looks very negative, looks like you're not going to be able to make it out of, but it's really based on your thoughts coming back at you. So you got to master your thoughts and try to match your thoughts up with the situation that you want your life to be. So that goes into understanding good luck, because you won't have any good luck if you keep projecting depressing thoughts. 7 is the number of depression too. So if you keep projecting out depressing thoughts and depressive thoughts, you can expect depressing situations to come back to you. So it's deep, man. It's real out here. This is like why you got to get into magic. You can't just understand, accept a mundane way of looking at things if you want to really make this year the best year for you. It's going to be challenging, because you're going to be challenged in your magic this year, because it's a very logical number and everybody's not going to see the magical aspect of things. But it's up to you. You watch this video, you see it. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this video down. I thank you for listening. I thank you for watching. And until we meet again, I'll leave you in Namaste.